Hello, is that me? Is everybody there?
You'll start to see numbers come up here, and that's when I look at people on the at the moment who have been watching it. So you see like 1, 2, 3, 4 appear up here.
Uh-huh.
There's nobody there yet, so give it a wee minute.
It said there's 144 people there.
Online.
Oh, right, sorry.
Gordon Armour is live now.
Hi, Fran, how are you? Hi, Leslie. Kirsty. Hi, Linda. Loved your question. Hi, kid. Okay, so we're live. So you're going to have to bear with me because I've never, ever, ever done this before in my life. This goes back, about 2-3 months now, where I was really missing my night work and my sittings and things like that. And my daughter Stephanie said, "Dad, why don't you try it online?" And I said, "No, it won't work." Hi, Danny. I said it won't work. I've never ever done anything like that before. When I've given a message, "Hi, Lynn," I've always been in the same room as somebody, or in a theatre, or an auditorium, that sort of thing. So Steph set up all this wonderful gubbins in front of me here, and sorry, I'm reading some of the statements as they come through. Steph set all this up in front of me, and my guinea pig was my pal Tom Ury, who incidentally was the first person I ever did a private sitting for as well. And it's taken off from there. So I thought we'd have a few Q&As, sun shining right on me, the sun's setting. I thought we'd have a few questions. So I'll get Steph to read the questions out, and I'll quite simply answer them.
Your first one is...
Hi, Grant.
Lindsay McCann. Does being a medium ever affect your life in a negative way? Like if you're working or trying to concentrate on something going on in your life, do certain spirits keep returning to you?
So did everybody hear that? Okay. Yeah, you can hear Steph. So I think the question was, I'm ever negatively affected by working for spirit. I was trained over probably about a 5-year period by my mum, and if anybody knew my mum, she was a bit of a taskmaster. And the first thing we were taught was, once we made a spiritual link, was, "Hi Rachel," was control, total control. So no, it's when I work through the day out at my day job and I'm doing what I do, it doesn't really affect me at all. When I come to work at night, it's simply like turning a light switch on, and then we go to work. Very, very occasionally, I'll get the urge to speak to somebody, to walk up to somebody and go, "Look, can I have a minute of your time?" But that's very rarely. It's pretty much, I'm in control, it's my body, it's my mind, and spirit has to respect that. Next question, Steph, a wee bit louder, people are saying.
Linda Ross. Obviously you came from a family of psychics, but what age did you become aware that you had the gift, and did your mum encourage you?
Oh, very much so. What age did I realise I had some sort of gift? Hi Charlotte. Things started happening in my life when I was about 10 years of age. But we're talking about late 70s, early 80s, and you didn't bring things like that up. I went to a very, very Catholic school where we used to get the belt for not going to church. And so you just didn't vocalise things like that. So yeah, I was getting things from a very young age, but it really happened when I was about 21, and I'd phoned Polly and I said, "Look, get the kid ready and we'll go for a drive." I just got my first company car. I said, we'll go for a drive and we'll celebrate the new car." And I remember lifting something into the boot of the car, because Steph was only a tot at the time, lifting something into the boot of the car, and bang, I was in a totally different place. Hi Alison. I remember the sensation of falling out of what I seen as the loft in my mum and dad's house, and then coming to a short, sharp stop. But I wasn't on the ground. I was swinging back and forth. Now, nobody had mobiles in those days, so I just threw everything in the car and drove to my mum's house, and I said, look, has this got anything to do with so-and-so? And it turned out this well-loved family friend, her mother, her father, her husband, I do apologise, had committed suicide and had never been spoken about, and this was my first real link into spirit life. After that, I was shoved into the spirit cabinet in my mum and dad's house, and yes, I grew up in the house with a spirit cabinet, and it was like turning on a tap. So yeah, that the first time I really realised I'd be about 21, but there was things throughout my life before that, which looking back, it all added up. What was the next question?
Mary McGlone, do you enjoy being psychics? I would love to hear from loved ones, but do you know if it's good or bad, and do you find it hard to tell some off? It must be very tiring.
Oh, it's definitely tiring. When I was younger, I used to do 6, 7. One of my best pals' wives, Kirsty, lined me up for 8 one night. But now the level of the work we do is so intense. I mean, we're getting physical knocks in the walls, taps in the room, that sort of thing, that I only do 4 a night. And yeah, it's definitely tiring. What was the rest of that question? I never really answered that.
Do you know if it's good or bad, and do you find it hard to tell someone off?
There's certain things, hi Lynette, there's certain things you are not told as a medium by the higher side. There's certain rules and boundaries and things that we're not allowed to convey to people. For example, you never get negative things through. You're going to get hit by a bus at 3 o'clock tomorrow. No medium would ever be trusted with that. Yes, I can tell spirit to step back if they are aggressive as well, but that in 20 odd years of working has only ever really happened once. No, normally you have to remember it's based on love. It's for loved ones you've lost, for their love back for you. So in general, being a medium and being able to comfort people is hugely gratifying. It's very, very satisfying, and it's generally a lovely environment to be in. Hazel, I don't do so much platform anymore, pet. It was getting quite difficult. Look, my co-pilot here. It was getting quite difficult between working a day job and then running from 6 o'clock from my day job to try and get to a church in Glasgow at 6:30 at night. So I don't do as much platform work as such, but what I do try and do is at least 2 or 3 charity nights a month to raise money for charities in the area. And if you've got a charity and you want me to come and raise money for you, please just ask. It won't be a problem.
Wonder if I can answer the question.
Speak up.
When you go to heaven, do we see our lives played back to realise our mistakes?
That sounds a wee bit like the film Justifying Your Life with Meryl Streep. I've actually no idea. There's many different theories on what happens when we go to the higher side. I think the fact that I do believe there are different levels. I don't think that the level after us, i.e. the spirit world, is the end. I think you move on from there again. So, no, I don't think it's like defending your life. But I'd be very interested if it was. If they were paying back the mistakes in my life, it would certainly be quite a long movie.
Mary McGlone has asked, can you tell her brother is okay?
Mary McGlone. Mary, are you on, pet? This isn't really about sittings tonight, or I'll try and do a few messages in. Mary, if you're on and you can hear me, the one thing I did get with your brother was quite a quick stop, okay, an end to life which was quite abrupt, okay, almost if going about his daily business, quite happy, fine, and then just bang, stop, okay. The gentleman has given me a big thumbs up from the higher side, but he's telling me there's still tears being shed to this day by people who loved him, okay. He's saying, please dry your eyes, I'm absolutely fine. Yes, Sharon, ask them. I'm absolutely fine, okay? Yes, I didn't get to say cheerio to MD, it all happened very, very quickly, but please be assured that I am fine. To the girl there who asked me if there's any way that people decide, no, Lisa, I'm more deciphering, if that helps. If you're looking for a sign in the house, simply ask them. It might not happen instantaneously, it'll happen when you need it to happen.
Next question.
Debbie, I'm still working on it. I'm halfway through the book. The people that have read it so far, Leslie, Peter, Tom, people like that, all seem quite impressed with it. But my computer's away in the shop at the moment, and it's taken a wee bit longer. Julia, you can have a reading as often as you want. You can go to a spiritualist church every night of the week if you want, and if Spirit want to talk to you, they'll come through. There's no limitations on how many sittings you can have. You can actually work it yourself. A specific person who has passed. Ali, yes, we tend to work with who we get through, Ali, from Spirit. But what myself and my guide have developed over the last few years is a thing called reversing the flow. So what we actually do, if the person you're looking for hasn't come through, we'll actually go looking for them. And we do that over maybe 3 attempts, and if after 3 attempts we can't do it, we can't do it. But 90% of the time, yeah, we will get them. So yes, it is possible to go looking for specific people. 9 times out of 10 I'll work with who I get. But if there is somebody you're particularly wanting to, Lynette, I missed that. If you put it up again, please. If there is people you specifically want to speak to, yes, we can get them. Hi, Gordon, I asked. Yes, Mum really encouraged me. Really, really encouraged me. Sorry, I forgot that part of the question. Yeah, the one night that, yes, you all have guides as well, Michael. The one night, sorry, it's going so fast. The one night that I did actually show some sort of ability to my mum was the first night of my training, and it's never stopped. Hi, Brian. It's never stopped. The training just goes on and on and on. You learn something every day. I like to watch different mediums work and try and work out what they're doing and go, that's really clever, and I'll bring it back here and I'll try to develop it myself. So yeah, you do. I was very heavily trained by my mum, and yeah, I still learn to this day, Alison.
Got a few more questions coming through, Dad.
Alright, Steph's in charge of the question, sorry. Right, carry on, Steph, and you have to speak up, people are saying.
Leslie Fairley's asked, after lockdown is lifted, will you be doing house readings too, or sticking to online?
I think we're at the point where we can maybe look at going back out on the road. Yeah, I could look at coming back out to people's houses again. This is working really well online with the sittings. It's very, very busy, and we're not having to charge as much because we're not travelling. So, yeah, I'm looking at, okay, let's say the end of the month, we'll go back out on the road and we'll start taking bookings again for August. And if you've got a charity night you want me to do, I'll come out and do that as of August as well. But for the meantime, I'm really happy working online. And I've just spoken to a lovely lady in America. I'm doing readings out in America a lot through this. It's absolutely brilliant.
Julia, I know you answered a question earlier for Julia, but she's also asked, do you think my dad comes with me on my walks?
Yeah. Excuse me, smoker's cough. Our nearest and dearest are never, ever, ever far away from us. They enjoy doing the same things as they did when they were actually here. So your dad's actually fascinated with the wee dog, he's telling me, Julie. I don't know if he was particularly a dog person himself, or he always wanted a dog and never had one. But he's fascinated by the wee dog, and of course, your lovely daughter, who spends a lot of time round about. And I want you to listen for the kids starting to vocalise about the man, okay? But he absolutely loves the dog and is enjoying spending a lot of time with you.
Dawn has asked, if someone has passed, how long would you wait for a reading? But that also answers Hazel Leggett's question.
Okay, this is a really, really, really common question. How long should you wait after somebody has passed? I personally have brought people through who are lying in the church waiting to be buried or cremated the next day. Good, Julie, I'm pleased to hear that. So yeah, I've witnessed wonderful, wonderful mediums like Stuart Alexander bringing somebody through who, in a physical sense, who had died 2 days before. So there isn't really a time as such, but as I say, I've had them through the day they were buried. One of my very, very good pals, Catherine, who has me out to her a lot. I actually read for her the day she buried her mum, and her mum came through like that, spot on. And she'll know what I mean when I say still a game.
Lisa Moore has asked, how do you know that you know? How do you know it's angels and not your own thoughts?
Ask me that again.
How do you know that you know? How do you know it's angels and not your own thoughts?
Right, okay. Again, that's all down to training. How do I know it's not just voices in my head as opposed to spirit talking to me? Again, that's down to training and trust. Sometimes, hi Ricky, and Ricky will vouch for this. Sometimes people get 1 or 2 nights training and that's it, they've got it. You know, they're away 100 miles an hour, but in actual fact they've nowhere near got it. You have to sit, train, meditate, work through things, and above all have trust in spirit that what they're putting in your head is correct. I am an interpretational medium, which means sometimes they might show me a picture of wee Mary and it might be the name Mary I'm looking for, but no, I don't understand Mary. Okay, well, my Mary was a very, very highly trained nurse. So I missed that, the girl with the 14-year-old, get a note of that. So if it's not Mary, it must be somebody as a nurse, okay? And if they don't understand that, I've got one more try at it. Well, as everybody knows, my mother really, really heavily grieved for my dad after he passed, so maybe I would turn it into somebody who really struggled with grief. So there's many different forms of mediumship. Myself, I tend to be more interpretational, and I've got to work things out if you don't understand it. But there's always a reason they're showing you, and sometimes I will just hear things in my head. I'll get a sense of smell, I'll get pain in my body, and I know how to get things across. Hi Ian, love you.
Lynette Watson, why do some people get spirit messages and some don't?
Well, I always end every service I do by thanking the people I've worked with and apologising to the people who I didn't get to. But maybe the people I did get to just needed it that wee bit more. We live in a very me-first society. So maybe the people who didn't get a message or don't constantly get messages maybe just don't need it as much as the people who do. Hi Margaret, how are you?
You answered the question about spirit guides, but somebody else has asked, do they decipher and translate the information?
Yeah, that really is answered by what I said before, decipher and translate. Spirit doesn't come through and say, my name's John Smith. Hi Rosemary, my name's John Smith and I live at number 1 Ann Street. If they wanted me to get to the name John Smith, they'd quite simply put a picture of my brother-in-law in my head, who's called John Smith, but to me he's known as Ian. So again, that's down to interpretation. So I'm going to say, who's Ian? Somebody's going to go, no, I'm going to go, right, who's John Smith? Okay, and I'd work it out from there. So, yeah, very interesting.
Alison Ball, have you ever been reading a news story or crime and been urged to get involved, help to solve it? If so, has the crime ever been resolved?
I grew up with that. I actually, can everybody hear Steph's questions? Okay. There was hi darling, hi Julie. There was a question regards crime, and it was the one thing my mum and I used to argue about constantly was the Madeleine McCann thing. But I grew up with the police coming to the door and trying to get my mum to help them. I've never been asked for it myself, but there's an awful lot. Thanks, John, that's good. There's an awful lot more mediums now, probably better mediums than me, who might be asked, or maybe the police don't do that anymore, I don't know. But yeah, I'd like to get involved in the crime thing.
Lorraine Graham has asked, have you ever been for a reading, and been unable to get contact with someone?
Oh, absolutely. So we're just asked, have I ever been to asked to do a reading and not being able to get contact? I truly believe there's a reading for everyone. But some people, and it's a well-known phrase of mine, some people want their postcode and their national insurance number. Some people want you to be too correct. Sometimes what we think we need to hear from Spirit, what we want to hear from Spirit, is not always what we need to hear from Spirit. Thanks, Lynette. I'm really nervous. So, yeah, some people just want to hear what they want to hear. And as such, Spirit might not want to be telling them that. They might want to be guiding them in a different way. So, yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah, I've had ones where I've thrown them out. Said, no, out. Get out. No, don't mind being tested.
Leslie's asking.
Stupid. Hazel, I am really, really, really sorry to hear that. Contact me after this and we'll look at setting you up a wee sitting, okay, my love? And I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Carry on, Steph. And you have to speak louder.
Sharon Boner has said, going through a horrendous time with my 14-year-old son, does my loved one see it, and is there any light at the end of the tunnel?
Funny, I'm getting told off here before I even answer. Yeah, Spirit's always watching. Always watching. And yes, they are trying to help from the higher side. They can only steer in a certain direction. But I think what they're saying to you is maybe a wee bit more patience. Okay? Maybe try a different tact. There seems to be an awful lot of shouting going on, an awful lot of shouting and bawling, name calling, whatever. This needs to stop and maybe just take a totally different look at it, and try and if you always do the same things, you'll always get the same result. I think is what I'm trying to say. Let's try something new to try and get a different result. There's somebody must have gifted you flowers recently. What's this girl's name, please?
Isabel. Sharon Boner.
Sharon, somebody must have gifted you flowers recently, or there's fresh flowers being brought into the house, and I'm just using that as a confirmation as what I'm saying is correct, or what I'm trying to tell you is correct. A different tact is what needed, is what's needed, if that helps. Next.
Isabel Wright, I dream a lot about my mother. Does that mean her spirit is with me?
Absolutely, I dream about my mum all the time. When you're some of the times when you're most open to Spirit is that lovely point, hi Maureen, just before you fall asleep, or that point just before you wake up, and that's when you're most open to Spirit. And yeah, your mum's in there trying to comfort you, to let you know she's okay. She talks about the colour purple as being important, and she also mentions the March month. No problem, Sharon, it's my pleasure. She also remembers the March month as being important as well. Perhaps you could let me know if that helps in any way. Needing a cigarette.
Eleanor Cantrell Armour, do you believe spirits of people you were close with can see everything you do? Thanks, Gordon, really interesting.
Hi, Eleanor. I haven't seen you in over a year. It was Gillian's wedding, I think. Yes, your loved ones are all around you all the time, trying to help and give guidance in your life. Of course, you have your private times as well. But yeah, they're always there. I always put it to people as you're walking up the path in the morning and you've forgotten your mobile phone. Hi, Eddie. As you're walking up the path and you forgot your mobile phone, do you think you automatically suddenly remember, oh, I've not got my phone? No, that's Spirit going, go and get your phone, Dafty. Yeah, so they're in and round about your life, constantly helping and giving guidance. But of course, you have your private times, and you do have the right to ask them to give you a break if you want. Okay.
Lorraine Graham, if someone is afraid of Spirit but attends a church, would Spirit not come to them as they know they are afraid?
I would say that would be a big yes. Yeah. At the end of the day, being afraid of Spirit, I mean, I've got things I'm afraid of in life, but Being afraid of spirit, it's your loved ones, it's your family, it's your nearest and dearest, and if they walk through the door, you'd jump up and you'd run over and you'd cuddle them. There's no real reason to be afraid of spirit. They'll never do you any harm. A lot of Hollywood creeps into this side of things, and people are frightened. And no, it's your mum, it's your dad, it's your gran. They'll love you. They'll never hurt you. In actual fact, they're there looking after you.
Leslie Fairley, why would my stepson be near my daughter and not his own biological parents?
Because she needs it. Simple as that. She needs it. She needs the upliftment. She needs the guidance. And I remember that sitting. She needed a boot in the bum, to be quite frank, from her big brother. So the boy was spending a lot of time around her because he loved her and she needed his help. Simple as that. Yes, Lisa, you're perfectly correct.
Eddie Nicol.
Rosemary, I'm just reading that just now, and I think I've spoken to you already about Tommy, but I have to say to you, he is in and round about you, Rosemary. He's still talking about cars to this day. He's shown me a big silver BMW, a big thing, big 5 or 7 Series, something like that. And he's put the thumb up, that was a great car, that was a great car. I don't know, Rosemary, if there was some loss of vocalisation towards the end where he couldn't speak or whatever, but he was almost talking with his eyes, if that makes sense, okay? And I don't need to tell you that he didn't want to leave you. In fact, the gentleman fought more than he should to stay here, because I think there was something going on, and I don't think he thought you were ready to deal with it without him. Well, he feels a wee bit silly now because he's on the higher side and he can help you so much more now. Please let me know if that's correct. Next question.
Eddie Nicol, hi Gordon, read on your post that you were working in a new way. Would you care to explain more?
Well, I certainly don't need to tell Eddie Nicol anything about mediumship, but my pal Eddie Nicol is a physical medium, whereas I'm a mental medium. I think to answer your question, Eddie, the intensity since Mum has passed has gone up. There's more physicality, as in things being moved, knocks, taps, raps, that sort of thing. And also this ability now to reverse the flow and actually go looking for somebody is the main ways it has changed. So intensity and clarity is definitely one. Physicality, as in knocks, taps, raps around the room, and the ability to actually go and look for somebody who hasn't already come through. Rosemary, did that help? Yeah. Carry on.
Margaret MacDonald, is my brother at peace with my mum?
Yes, of course. Have we not been through this? Yeah. Margaret, I don't know where the headaches are surrounding you, pet. I don't know if it's with yourself or it was a condition which assisted your brother's passing. But thanks, Rosemary, the headaches are now just lifting off. Everything's a lot clearer, okay? And there's a new appreciation on the higher side, both between your mum and your brother. A new appreciation for each other. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, because you and I will talk about this separately from a group. This is a private reading you need there.
I suspect the next one to be the same, but you're probably able to address it.
Speak up.
Charlotte Taylor, as you're probably aware, I had a few health scares, as did my dad. He told me he had experiences he would never forget involving my mum visiting him from spirit. I honestly thought I would have had the same contact at my scary time, but got nothing, so disappointed.
Again, I think I've sort of answered that before. It's down to what you need as to what you want. Spirit, instead of taking the time to maybe say, hello, we're here, we're maybe working hard in the background to make sure you stayed here. They certainly wouldn't abandon you. So it reminds me of the one and only poem in life that I like, which is Footprints. Why, Father, at the hardest point in my life did you abandon me? And there was only one set of footprints. No, my son, that was the times that I carried you. So instead of Spirit maybe actually taking the time to let you know they're there, maybe they were just using that time to work hard in the background to keep you here. And I know you're health scares, girl, and I know you've been through a lot. And I seen you in Tesco's the other night. You didn't see me, but you were looking great, and it's very, very good to see.
Sandra D, what messages do you have for me?
At the moment, nothing. But if you want to book me, we'll find out.
Eddie Dorian, any messages from my cousin Gordie?
Well, first of all, Eddie, good to hear from you. Eddie's one of my oldest pals. Ask me that again. Sorry, something took me away there.
Any messages from my cousin?
Well, you and I are old pals, Eddie, but it's fair to say in recent years we haven't seen as much of each other. Yeah, there really is actually. I don't know if I know it's your cousin. You're quite close to him, but I don't know if there's kids left behind. In fact, I feel there might be two kids left behind. And what he's actually saying is, please look in on my family. There's something awry. There's something not right. Okay, and he'll help you and assist you to do that. Okay, but yeah, there is, and it's a he wants help. He wants help, and he wants you to look in. Thanks, Jamie. That means a lot. So yeah, have a wee look. And he also says the October month is important as well. All right. Okay, carry on.
Lorraine Graham, do you remember phoning me thinking I was your reading you were looking for? Could this have been because I should contact you?
I remember that. That wasn't that long ago, actually. It could be, but I think I've read for you before, Lorraine, have I not? But if you want to, that's not a problem, kid. I'll do a reading for you. Just drop me a message. I'll do it for you. It's easy.
Carrie Marshall, hey Gordon, the babies that pass too soon, do they grow in spirit?
I'd like to believe that. I really do like to believe that they progress and grow on in life. Yeah, it's a different sort of growth that we'd have here. Eddie, get back to me on that. Let me know if that's correct, please. But yes, I do truly believe that. There's Alistair. Hi, pal. How are you? I do honestly believe that they grow on in the higher side, but in a different sense from here. Hi, Terry.
Rachel O'Brien, would you recommend going to a spiritualist that knows you or going to one that doesn't know you? I
always believe to go to people who don't know you. Obviously, I've just lost my mum recently, and for me to walk into a spirit church on the west coast of Scotland and not be known is quite difficult. So I also always try and look at hi Dorothy. I always try and look at who's on and where it is and try and go to somebody who doesn't know me. That way, you know you're getting good evidence, and always try and sit up the back of the church because good mediums go for the back row.
Sandra has been told that you've got a message for her.
Sandra who?
Stay what?
Oh, she knows more than I do.
At the moment.
At the moment, Sandra. Sorry, pet.
I haven't seen that many more questions coming up.
Okay, so we'll wait the questions that were sent in before. Hi, Michelle. So fire away with your questions. Hi, Kirsten. I was just talking about you. Fire the questions away online.
Alistair's never seen you do this before. Love to you, Pauline and the girls.
It's my pal, Alistair Clark.
Derek Welsh. Hi, Gordon. Hope you're well. Michelle McShane. Someone made a comment about I was attending an event very last minute and I sat with my back to the medium. I got a message that no one could possibly know was so unexpected and 100% true. Dorothy Nicholson.
Hello, Marianne.
Debbie Gray, said, I was told that once when I questioned why my brother wasn't here to help with my mum and was told he was helping mum from his side.
Would you read that again, please?
I was told that once when I questioned why my brother wasn't here to help with my mum and was told he was helping mum from his side. Debbie Gray.
Okay. Yes, Margaret, I haven't actually finished my garden and I've still got a fence to build. I think, Lisa, no, this is something we're looking at the moment. The question: do you have your own spiritualist church to bring on fledglings? Since my mum passed to the other side, I've had this real urge to start what we call a home circle or a development circle, and I was told there would be 5 people present themselves. I've got 2 of them. An ex-colleague of mine and a girl who's halfway there with mediumship, and I'm just waiting. Hi, Liz. I'm just waiting on the other 3 actually presenting themselves, but it's going to be a long, hard road. There'll be no 2 lessons now on the road type of thing. It's going to be properly trained, if you know what I mean.
Alison Ball, if someone always seems to have a gut feeling which turns out to be right, how would you recommend they nurture their gifts if it is indeed a gift?
Okay. A lot of people, we all have abilities with spirit, every one of us. In the same way that I played football right up till I was 35, and I was okay, but I was never going to get a game for Morton or anything like that. I wasn't that level. So I had a footballing ability, but it wasn't to that level. So everybody has a mediumistic ability in some way, shape or form. And yes, like everything else with training and practice, it gets better. But some people just have it more than others, in the same way that I could play football, but I was never going to be an Andy Ritchie.
Dorothy Nicholson is asking if you have a message for her. Dorothy Nicholson.
Not that I'm aware at the moment, my love, but we can get into it if you want. Just send me a message and we'll set something up for you.
Helen Kelly, can you wish my mum a happy birthday for tomorrow if possible?
If she's on the higher side, we can all do it. If she's here, happy birthday. Hi, Sandra.
There's a few questions earlier I never got to ask you.
Yep, okay.
If they're still in the room.
Yep.
Charlotte Taylor, have you heard from your mum and dad?
Yes, actually, I have. Mum came back through. Dad was murdered. I would go to the Spirit Church in Gourock with my daughter, and my dad would come through to my daughter, and I was sitting right next door. I thought, he's fell out with me. He's not talking to me. But yes, they've both been back. Mum as recently as Wednesday night, and some of the things that's come through have been hyper accurate. Gordon Smith did a sitting for Mum after Dad had passed, and that was hyper accurate, absolutely phenomenal. Street names round about where we lived growing up and things like that. So yeah, it was excellent.
Paul Gawkin, apologies if that's the wrong pronunciation. After a break from Circle, is it a good idea to get back into it?
Paul, you know my feelings on that. I think you're one of the most gifted mediums I ever had the pleasure of sitting with. All you need, big man, is just to get in amongst it, and I'll help you in any way you can. I think we did actually share a platform once, but I would love to share a platform with you again. And yes, we need mediums like you, Paul, in the movement. Simple as that.
I think you answered this earlier, but Lisa Moore asked, wonder when Gordon established the difference between hearing spirit and deciphering your own thoughts.
I've never been clairaudient. I've always been clairsentient, which is where the thoughts are put in my head and I have to work things out. They go through my head like a big filing cabinet and pull memories out for me to try and put over for this person to understand in their own way.
Alison Bethel has lost a very close family member this morning. Sorry
Oh,
to ask, but do you have anything for me?
Alison, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that. You're one of the nicest people I know, and I hate when bad things happen to good people. What I would like to see at the moment is you have to understand this person fought and fought to stay here till they had nothing left, and they just had to slip over. Once they did slip over, bang, everything stopped. All the pain, etc., stopped, and there was two people actually waiting for this person on the higher side. And the November month is very, very important also. Please let me know if that's correct, Alison.
Linda Ross, I used to work with a girl. When I was in her company, the word dad would pop into my head all the time. She wasn't a spiritualist, but could my dad have used her to channel me?
Ask me that again.
I used to work with a girl. When I was in her company, the word dad would pop into my head all the time. She wasn't a spiritualist, but could my dad have used her to channel me?
What if it was... Who is this?
Linda Ross.
Linda, what if this was the opposite way about? And I know I've read for you a few times. What if her father was trying to communicate to her through you? There may be something there, Pet. So it's maybe worth you and I getting together and talking about it. So that might have been the exact reverse scenario. Her father may have been trying to use you to talk to her. So make contact with me, we'll talk about that.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor Cancel, Armour, has deja vu got anything to do with the spirit world? Sometimes it feels like being on the right track. Love to you and your family, Bob.
I don't think so, Eleanor. I really don't think so. When I tend to trust gut instinct on things. When somebody I feel about things, etc. Deja vu, no. I think that's just a tired brain, to be honest.
Leslie Fairley, you once told Carrie she had the ability. How would she develop it? Someone we both know said no, she's not.
Well, first of all, if somebody who I know as well as Carrie, I think she has a mediumistic ability. I have to trust my guides. Thanks, Linda. I have to trust my guides to know that they're correct. So yeah, it's down to what I was talking about earlier on. If there's a mediumistic gift and she wants to travel down here, then we're looking at putting a circle together. And Carrie would be right up there.
You can't address this one.
Thanks, Margaret. Love you guys. I haven't seen you in ages. Your football team's still rubbish.
Charlotte Taylor, I know I'm a pest, but being today for x-rays, is it what I'm thinking?
Charlotte, you and I both know I have no formal medical degree and I am not a doctor. So for me to comment on something like that would be unethical. So, hi Martin, how are you? Thanks. You never done my HPI, you bugger. So I shouldn't really comment on that, but I don't have any bad thoughts, and I think that you are worrying too much.
You think so?
Yes, please. Thanks, Angie.
Jade McVeigh, I recently lost my brother very suddenly, and you still aren't sure what happened. Is there anything you can tell me?
I think that's one for you and I make contact, and we'll get into that. Okay. I'm not doing that in an open forum. Thanks, Yvonne. He was handsome. He was prettier than I.
That's all the questions so far, and you've got 15 minutes left. There's 56 people in the room.
Okay. It's all right, mate. I got it done. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Thanks, Amanda. That's no problem. Thanks, yeah. Any more questions out there? Thank you. Well, the questions are slowing down a wee bit. Angie, we're all fine. Yeah, lockdown's been a bit odd, but yeah, we're all fine and we're getting through. Losing mum was quite difficult. We could only have 12 people at Mary Armour's funeral when there should have been 1,200. But other than that, yeah, we're all good. Yeah, Debbie, I'm fine, thanks. Yes, I have to wear specs now. Yes, I'm an old man.
Lorraine Fraser, if you quit the factory, you'll be done.
Yes. I'm still smoking. Yes, got off my back. Yvonne, again, that's something that we can do, pet. Just hit me up after this and we'll get you a slot. That's absolutely no problem.
Rachel O'Brien, have you got anything for me?
It wasn't really about messages tonight. It was more sort of a question and answer type thing. At what age did I know? Well, again, answered that earlier, but oh well, we've had that before, right? This is very good, Lorraine. How do you feel when someone comes through that the person you're reading for strongly doesn't want to hear from? I've had it a couple of times, and it's quite simply a case of just sending them away. You're not welcome. If somebody doesn't want to hear from somebody, then no, you're taking up room that somebody they do want to hear from could be in. So on your way and don't waste my energy. And that has happened a few times. People trying to come back and apologise for things, and if my sitter doesn't want to speak to them, then I can't I can't work on like that. I have to clear them and try and bring somebody else through.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Lindsay McCann, when someone asks, is there a message for me, and there is the spirit sitting waiting, knowing we are doing this?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I would never have dreamt of doing something like this. But now Spirit have channeled me in such a way to come, sit down and open myself up to 56 people. So yeah, Spirit arrange, if you like, for things to happen in such a way that they've got me sitting here tonight talking to you when I should be drinking beer. Yes, Donna, certainly. Just hit me after this.
Hazel Leggett, do you have any idea when churches will start again?
I'm not really involved with churches anymore, Hazel. I was finding it, the balance between that's my wee cousin. I was finding the balance between work at the time and then racing about doing churches quite difficult. I might look at it again, but I'm more doing charity nights to raise money for well-deserved charities like I did for Alison and Erica Noon, etc. Yeah, Lisa, I could agree with that.
Can you recap your experiences and what you just started at for Elizabeth?
Recapping, I had certain experiences growing up, around the ages of 10, 14, and then at 18, things were happening, but I never really acted on it. It was, as I say, late 70s into early 80s, etc. And it just wasn't the kind of thing you brought up in those days. So really, when I was sort of 21, there was a specific experience which I've already spoken about, which got me in the car and down to my mum's house and straight into the Spirit cabinet, and it was like turning on a tap. So 21 was when I started, but yeah, there was a lot growing up.
Can you see Eddie's comment?
Eddie. I've tried it. I don't have the discipline for it. And it's probably more fearful of just letting go of total control. This is Eddie, who's a wonderful physical medium, is asking me if I'd ever thought of physical mediumship. I have tried it, but to no avail. I don't have the discipline, or I think maybe I'm just a wee bit frightened of letting go. My sister Aileen is more the physical type mediumship. But no, I tend to be quite happy that I want to develop what I'm doing, but I don't think I want to go physical. I'll leave that to you.
That was one of the next questions. Has any of your sisters got the gift from Heather Thompson?
Yeah, very much so. Aileen is a very, very fine physical mediumship. Alison is more, she's more career. Well, they're both very career orientated. But Aileen, yeah, is a very, very fine physical mediumship. Just won't put herself out there. But what's that one?
Does doing online readings bring sceptics feeling that you might be looking into people before their readings?
Am I a Facebook medium? No, everybody gets their evidence, and I don't think I'd be sitting here tonight talking to 55 people if I was a Facebook medium. So no, everybody gets their evidence, everybody gets their proof. For example, I was just talking to a lovely lady in America there. She'd booked me for a reading, and I said, why are we talking about a cruise? She went, my God, we were just sitting here talking about a cruise and travelling to, going to stop at the travel agents en route to pick up some brochures. And I was talking about problems with feet and circulation. Nobody's ever going to put that on Facebook and things, and it was all perfectly correct, and she was actually quite a wee bit blown away with it. So yeah, I'm not a Facebook medium, although in this day and age people like Derren Brown seem to make fun of spiritualists and mediums by doing it over the internet and finding out people's things from people's Facebook pages.
Same lady has asked, what is physical mediumship?
What's physical mediumship? Very much Whoopi Goldberg in Ghost, if that makes it any easier.
Ali has asked, have you ever had a time or experience where you wish you had your gift?
I don't understand what that means.
So perhaps a time where someone's passed and you wish you could talk to them straight away.
Oh, right. No, that's the curse. Sorry, Ali. That's the curse of the medium. I would desperately love, as a medium, to be able to communicate with my mum and dad, but we're not allowed. It doesn't work like that. We have to go to another medium. So it's like a doctor having to go to a doctor. Yeah, we're not allowed, for some reason, to communicate with our own loved ones, but I do strongly feel them round about me at certain times. Hello, David Armstrong. Long time no see. Angie, hit me afterwards and we'll go over that bit.
Somebody else asked the difference between physical and mental, but you've answered that.
Yeah.
Again, keep the questions coming, your numbers are going up. Number 60, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think if this goes well, we might make this a regular thing. We'll just do it on a Monday evening. I'm fine, David. I hope you're well.
Is there interest in doing this more again?
Yeah. Would you be interested in doing this more often? Just let me know.
Does your mum and dad not talk to you?
No, as such, no, Lorena. I get feelings, I have dreams, etc. But I'm never given direct spirit link. That just wouldn't be allowed. So I do have two mediums who I trust, implicitly, one of which I can't talk to at the moment, but another one who, when I feel the time is right, I will sit down and ask him to do a reading for me. Thanks very much, guys. That's very, very positive feedback, and I'm really enjoying it as well.
Keep the questions coming.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I would love to know.
Lorraine, how's retirement?
Isabel Wright has asked, I would love to know, is Gordon at peace? I'm assuming it's like a party Gordon.
Isabel, perhaps you could put that question back in again. Because I'm looking at it here, I would love to know, is Gordon at peace? Please put that back over to me. Maybe you and I will talk separately. Debbie, you don't have to say that. Your mum already knows that, pet. And I was lucky enough to meet your mum before she passed and read for your mum, and she was a fabulous woman. So there's absolutely no doubt that she knows that. Alison, I'm really, really pleased to hear, well, not really pleased to hear that, but I'm glad that there's something I could give you back there. to let you know that she's absolutely fine. You have to understand the second the lady passed, everything stopped. All the pain, all the weakness, everything was gone, okay? And wow, I feel brilliant. And I know you and I know you. And there was two people waiting for her when she got there, as I said.
5 minutes later.
No, Lindsay, being a medium, does it ever affect your personal life? I think 2 or 3 times in my life I had to physically get something out and talk to somebody. But other than that, it's my body, my mind. So I have control. And I think, as I said earlier on, when I go to work through the day, I'm Gordon at work through the day. But when I come to work at night to work mediumistically, flick the light switch changes, and I move into the medium side of things. Yeah, I have control, so no, very rarely does it affect. I do trust my gut when I'm working though.
Helen Kelly's asked to say happy birthday to your mum again. Is there always someone waiting to take a spirit over to the other side?
Absolutely. Lorraine, that's a brilliant question. Is there always someone waiting to take a spirit over to the other side? We talk about guardian angels and things like that, and some people think that their guardian angel is a 7-foot bewinged, brilliantly white thing, but in actual fact it's a member of your family. Very often 3 members of your family who are there trying to look after you constantly. And do you think my dad wasn't standing waiting on my mum? Yes, we've always got somebody waiting on us from the higher side and looking after us.
Helen McPherson, could you tell me who was waiting on my mother-in-law when she passed?
Helen, I feel there was 3 people waiting on your mother before she passed. 2 from the same generation and 1 from a generation below, if that makes any sense. Hi, Demo. But yeah, I feel there was 3 people waiting for her when she passed over. But they were waiting a while, they're telling me. I think they were waiting 2 or 3 weeks on her because she was just too stubborn to pass, if that makes any sense. Yeah, Yvonne, yeah, it really has ramped up. I mean, I've worked as a spiritualist medium for over 20 years now, but since my mum's passed, yeah, it's really, really ramped up. It's
Can I give you another question?
Yes, of course.
Dawn has asked, when your spirit leaves the body, do they see and hear what's happening?
I don't know. That's not part of my training, and thankfully I haven't experienced it. So that's not something I can answer. But what I would say is I have done a lot of research on that side, and some of the stories that's back, we'll maybe save that for next week. But one particular story really touched me because my cousin Gillian passed from the same thing, and had we known about it, hopefully maybe we could have done something, you know.
Demo has asked you, hopes you're keeping well, doesn't know how this works, but his wee boy looks at a part of his living room wall and says Papa, but he hasn't got a Papa.
Fabulous.
My missus thinks it's her granddad. What do you think?
Fabulous. Demo, that's brilliant, because I truly believe as kids we all have that ability. We grow out of it, but luckily I fell back into it. But yeah, the amount of kids that talk to the man or the lady or Papa, and there's nothing to fear from that, because it's just your loved ones looking in on them. But yeah, I hear that a lot. Another really good one to watch is dogs and cats. They give spirit away all the time. The amount of spirit that comes through as you get rid of that bloody cat, it keeps catching me, you know. So yeah, fantastic.
There's an awful lot of
No, carry on, it's fine.
There's an awful lot of personally directed questions about who was waiting on who.
Yeah,
you're trying
yeah.
to
Steph said there's an awful lot of personally directed questions about the mum, etc., that sort of thing. That's not really what I'm on here to do tonight, but if you do want to sit and talk to me about it, you will do that. So I can't go into specifics of your person's passing unless I'm actually sitting concentrating on you and doing a full one-on-one.
So you wrote down all your questions.
My Emily talks to her friend all the time, and I hope it's someone from Spirit that's with her. I think we both know who that is, and he supported a rubbish football team. Right, my beautiful young assistant is sitting next to me telling me I have run out of time. I cannot tell you how much I've enjoyed this tonight. It's been absolutely fabulous. I never thought for a second we'd reach over 60 people, but I think we'll do this next Monday night at 7:30, if that's okay. And again, if you want to speak to me in a one-to-one, just hit me on Messenger and I'll get back to you over the next couple of days, if that's okay. Right guys, thanks. It's been a pleasure. Finish.